But in a situation where you said somebody is doing overnight party, oh my God, no parent will ever allow you that. Sorry, you know I will not agree to that, except it's a sister that I'm aware of.
It's mother-daughter. You're going to talk as if the camera is not looking at you. So the way you relate to me without camera is where you want to relate to. Hi everyone, hey people, how you guys doing? Hope you guys are good. It's just Ayetunde Eunice here. You guys know how it is. And welcome to my channel. If this is the first time of you seeing my face, if you are just seeing my video, if someone just introduced my video to you, you're welcome to the channel. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and the bell right beside it so you stay notified. Once I drop a new video, you'll be the first to see it. As usual, help my market. And so regular J family members, you guys are welcome back to the family. You guys are welcome back to the channel. If you've not subscribed, or you can buy membership alone way. You're not a true member if you've not subscribed. So please subscribe and make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you love it. And make sure you leave me a comment, share the video, and yeah, let me not talk too much. So as you've seen from the title below, we have a special guest in the building. See, and it took a lot to get this person on the channel today. Like a lot of begging, a lot of talking. In fact, this video is a spontaneous video because we did not plan it. Beg that. So today I just woke up and I just said it randomly. Oh yeah, now that you're at home, all thanks to the Muslim holiday, she will come and film the video. And she honorably and gladly accepted. So, without much ado, help me make welcome, my one and only mama, superwoman of life, one and only Chief Reverend Mrs. Chief Matron, and Dele, one and only. So, as you guys have seen from the title below, yeah, this is my mommy, mommy yo, one and only. Okay, so as you guys have seen, I'll be asking her some questions. Some of the questions are questions people are afraid to ask their parents. African children are afraid to ask their parents. And some other questions are just random questions. There might be a part 2 of this video. I might have to break this video into 2. So if you see us in the same plot in another video, just understand that it's the same day we filmed the video. It's just that on the different segments, because the other segment should be answering questions about me, basically. Yeah. So having said all that, let's get right into today's video. All right, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
So our first number 1 question. Don't look at my question. Oh, by the way, she has not seen these questions. She has not seen them. So she's going to be hearing them for the first time, the way you guys are hearing for the first time. So the first question: why do African parents never agree when they are wrong? Like you African parents, you can never be wrong. Why?
Thank you, my lovely girl. African parents will never agree that they are wrong. Why? Because they believe they give birth to you.
Doesn't mean anything now.
It means many things. They will tell you, African we value respect so much, and we believe that there is no much that you say you know that you can know as much as your parents, and that's why a parent will stand on whatever they want to stand on.
But you know, sometimes they are actually really wrong.
If they are wrong, they agree they are wrong.
No, most African parents never agree that they are wrong. They can never be wrong.
They will agree. That is after much pressure. They don't just give in like that. No. But after much pressure, they too sleep over it and they see that what you are saying is right. They agreed. You guys they may not agree instantly, but gradually, probably they sleep over it and they think what this girl is saying. They weigh it. Even
if they agree, let me lead you to the second question. Even if they agree, they never come up to you and tell you they've agreed. It's a case of they will agree in their mind that yeah, they've agreed, and then they will not stylishly just let everything go back to normal. They never come and tell you, oh okay, I know about the last issue, I was wrong, so clinical, don't worry, okay, and then this is the second part. Why do African parents never say sorry? So when they discover that they are wrong, either of them to call you and tell you, oh okay, fine, I'm sorry, I understand, but this is what I was thinking, this is the aspect. Ndara is for mothers, they'll start buying you something, they'll tell you to, like, they'll just find a way to just play around everything, and they'll try to make sure they don't say that sorry. Why?
That's lovely. Thank God you are a lady, you are a woman, you are a madam, you are coming to be an African woman once, whether we like it or not.
So you're
So
telling
you
me
will
it's just be my
feel what mothers are feeling, and you will feel what African parents are feeling, and now we will see how you can work it out on your own too.
blood. So wait, you're telling me
Yes.
it's going to be my blood.
Thank God you are a woman and you are an African woman, you are not an English woman. It is English people that easily say sorry. Sorry is very easy for them. But we in Africa will feel that whatever we do, we are the mother and the children should succumb to us. But if they don't succumb to us, and at the end you realize that what you are arguing on is baseless, or probably the girl or the boy is on the right track, yes, you can come and pat her back. I've come to pat your back.
With other things, not with I'm sorry.
I've come to pat your back.
Not with I'm sorry. Let's agree on the fact that you will not say I'm sorry.
Not with you are sorry.
So that's
we are not a black. We are a black woman. We are not a white woman. This is our own tradition.
Sorry, tradition for anybody now.
We are not learning it gradually. It's not what you can just push to us. So gradually now we are coming into terms with saying I am sorry.
Okay. You guys have heard now. Second question: what is the best way to tell my mom I have a boyfriend?
There shouldn't be any big deal if you are matured. When I say matured, at least you have passed through university level. You can tell me boldly that I have a friend. You can bring your friend home and introduce to me. A parent at that age wants you to introduce somebody, and they want to see that person to know if it's a person you can flow with. So by the time you are finished university and you tell me I have a boyfriend, no parent will go against it. No parent. But if you are in SS2, SS3, and you now bring a boyfriend to me, you know, an average African parent feels wants to bring a boy in, that this is my friend. There will be a distraction in your education, so they will not welcome it. But if you have finished your first degree and now you bring a friend, that friend too will believe, the mother believes that friend too has an aspiration. It cannot derail your journey because it wants something good from you. So for you to now bring somebody when you have already passed university level and now come, oh mommy, this is my friend, this is Dayo, is my close friend, is my close pal. You trust me, by the time I say it's my close pal, I've already get you.
But okay, wait. But you don't
so
think
it's better for you to introduce that person at least when you are in our institution. You may be in 300, but not 100 level.
Now when she started asking me for boyfriend.
Yes. I started asking her when she was around 300 level. I will ask her because that's the time that I believe you should be making friends.
Okay, so wait. But don't you think, because at the end of the day, as much as African parents generally keep saying, oh, don't have a boyfriend in your teenage years, don't have a boyfriend in your teenage years, which is actually understandable and is advisable. But at the end of the day, teenagers still want to explore. Teenagers still want to end up doing these things. They still want to just have a feeling. Do you understand? So doesn't it, like, shouldn't African parents start inculcating that habit of, okay, fine, this is the person you like, Abi, that moment of monitoring the relationship? Because there's no how, even if you say, okay, fine, don't do it, there are still a lot of them that will still go behind your back to do it. So it's not best for them to do it with your supervision than going behind your back to do it.
The teenagers of this age,
because yeah, this age,
the teenagers of this age that we are, want to young. That's how I would say.
Exactly, that's what I said. With the way it is now.
When we say want to young, that means due to the technology outside there, it has exposed them to a lot of things. So it's better you tell them to bring their friend in and watch their friend. See to their friend. When you leave them, probably they are in the parlor. When you leave them, in between you bump to them and see what they are talking, how they are relating, so that you'll be able to monitor their journey. And even though you allow them to bring in their friend, watch that girl, watch that boy. Come into their midst and counsel them as a parent. Come into their midst and talk to them as a parent that has experience. And I believe with that, you are going to achieve something positive in the life of those teenagers.
I feel like we are pretty much saying the same thing. The aspect of, rather than just saying, oh, okay, fine, don't have a relationship, don't have girls around you, because there's this old narrative of, I think it's one of the questions of African parents telling, like mothers now telling their daughters that if a guy touch you, you get pregnant. Like that
was dead.
That's not rude. So it's like, rather than saying stuff like that, why not say, okay, fine, this is your friend, that we can bring her. If you guys are going out, oh, okay, fine, I know where you're going to, I know you're going out, I know, okay, fine, by this time come out.
That's what I'm saying, that I prefer you bringing your friend in. Let me know that friend. Let me know where you are going, so that I can be guiding both of you together. Exactly. Instead of you telling you that don't have it outrightly, then I will tell you to go and buy spaghetti for me. In the next shop, you go for 1 hour 30 minutes. No, I don't.
So I feel like now
I don't like that,
because with the way the 21st century
play
generation
it wide for them and let them see what life is.
Exactly. Okay, sorry, we're good on that one. Next question, I think you pretty much answered it in the previous one. When is the right age to start dating? Right age to start dating? That's
why I said you want to date at least. I want to date not less than 18 years. For me, that is it.
Not less than 18
Not less than 18 years. Before I want to say, I want to start dating.
Because that's like when you are at least matured in the age.
Yes, to be able to think. I've grown to a stage. If I start dating at 15, I am just
playing all those relationships.
I don't know anything.
It's not abroad. It might work for them over there.
I don't know anything.
It really works for us.
But when I'm 18, I've had a level of maturity. I've gone through a level of learning from my parents, or learning from my siblings, or learning from my aunties. So I know how to, the kind of answer I can give to any guy that comes to toast at that point in time. So for me, 18 and above.
Okay. Why do parents care boys from you when, for example, now, growing up till you get to school, even when you get to university, you hear parents telling you, oh, don't move with boys, or don't have friends, don't this. But after convocation, they are still the same people that will come and be asking you, oh yeah, where is boyfriend? Or oh yeah, we are the friends for convocation rights. But they are the ones that will tell you when you get to school, I did not send you to come and make friends. I told you to come and face your book.
No parent will say, I did not tell you to come and make friends. But what they will guide you to is face your studies, especially in your 100 and 200 level. The tendency for you to go wild is there when you get to university, especially for you that did not have hostel accommodation, hostel level when you are in secondary school. Probably the first time you are going outside your home. By the time you get to university, you see that everything is free. So a good parent will always say that statement, that please face your studies. I did not send you to go and make friends. I did not send you to go and start behaving anyhow. Outside there is polluted. So no parent will just send you out and feel that once you get to school, start misbehaving, start any kind of friendship. No. So they will always guide you through that first 2 years. They know that within that first 2 years, at least you meet friends, you go out with people, but that boldness is not there with you until you are around 300, when you can say, these are my friends, these are my friends. So every parent will want to guide their child to be successful in life, especially a girl child. We've got issue of girls getting into university, and within their 100 level, they got it entangled with friends, with boys that impregnated them, they aborted, and they lose their womb even at 100 level. What is the joy of that mother? So as a mother, you keep saying it. Even though if that child now go to school and misbehave, he knows that he or she is the one that did not follow you. You have said your own, and you can't follow her to school. Okay,
still on that kind of question now. You were saying something which was what made me to just relate it to this question. Now, African parents are the ones that will tell you, don't go out. For example, there's one question here that says, why do African parents never allow sleepover? They don't allow you go out to stay with your friends overnight. They rarely allow you go out, except it is like for a concrete reason, at least for your growing up stage. But all of a sudden, they are the ones asking you for guys, for clinical. So it's like, why is it that you cannot, African parents don't always do the, okay, fine, go out, come back around this time. Okay, you can go to this particular place. I don't want to see you in this particular place. But at least freedom to move, mingle, see life. at an earlier stage. So by the time you get into school, it won't be like a new thing that you want to go and explore because they don't allow you to explore in your house. Why is it that they don't do the okay fine, go out by this time, come back by this time? Why is it that the African parents is like stay in your house, no sleepover, no going out? It's only when you're going out, family is going out. Or do you understand? Or you're going to be a very important thing.
African parents believe there is time for everything. And that is why at the teenage years, they want to guide your going out or your movements. And that's why I keep saying, if you don't guide the teenagers in their teenage years, they go haywire. Despite most parents guiding them in that teenage years, you see most teenagers. You see most of them what they are doing. So as parents, we are not going to be tired of saying it because there is time for everything. Like I said, the time for you to make friends is still there. You'll be tired of making friends. But when you do the right thing at the wrong time, it is a problem. And that is why parents always guide against you going out at all time, especially when you are still a teenager. Girls are vulnerable, and that is why we should not just keep quiet. We keep saying it. When you are still within the age of 10 to 15, we keep guiding your going out. We keep monitoring you. But by the time you are 18, 19, 20, and we know the friend you are going to meet, we know the friend you are going to sleep with, we know the friend that you probably want to go and do vigil with, we can't hinder you from going. But in a situation where you said somebody is doing overnight party, oh my God, no parent will ever allow you that. Sorry, you know I will not agree to that, except it's a sister that I'm aware of.
Okay. Okay, the next question. Did you ever sneak out of your house when you were young?
I stay with my grandmother. So where will I have the time to sneak out?
Yeah, where you are, then it's possible now.
I stay with my grandmother, who is a disciplinarian. So where will I have the time to sneak about? She's a businesswoman. And once we are not in school, we stay in her shop. The shop is down, our house is upstairs. It's a 30-bedded room. So the shop is down on the ground floor and the house is upstairs. So there's no point.
Okay, so you were saying something previous, I just remember. You said something about you made so much mention about the training the female children. But don't you think the level that we've gotten to now in this stage, the training should not just be for the female children, guy children too should be involved?
Yes, that is why I said teenagers, children of these days, they are children of electronic age. So the guys, the boys are guided as the ladies are guided. Okay. Because whatsoever the teenage girl can fall into, so also the teenage boy this time can fall into it, especially with peer pressures. Especially with peer pressures. So the kind of hand that we used to hold girl child is the same hand we should use to handle boy child of now at this.
Okay, so next question. What were you doing when you were my age?
When I'm in your age,
when you were my age,
this age, yeah. I've already had a steady boyfriend.
Why did you mention boyfriend first?
Yes,
but you always mock me. I don't understand.
I'm not mocking you.
I know you're mocking me.
I'm just telling you that at our age, I've already gotten a steady boyfriend whom our aim is to get married. And that means we both of us are watchful.
Yes. So yeah, apart from relationship.
Apart from relationship, I was still in school.
School of nursing.
I was in school of nursing.
Okay.
At this age, I was still in school of nursing. At this age.
Next question. When did you know you wanted to marry that?
When did I know?
No, you wanted to marry that. Like, when did you get that conviction that yes, okay, this is the right person?
Sorry. When we met, the toasting is not I want you to be my friend. The toasting is I want you to be my wife.
Okay. So he proposed from the beginning.
From the first day, he did not give room for go and think.
I'm sharp guys.
He did not give room for thinking. I want to marry you. I was not saying you want to marry me. I'm still going to school, so I will wait. And
you waited. So from the first day,
the first day, yes, I want to marry.
No, you, your
yes,
conviction.
because then I had no relationship.
So you were sure that he's the person?
I have no relationship, but yes, the love was there from the start.
Yay. Okay, next question. What did you wish you spent more time doing at a younger age? Like, is there anything you feel like you should have done more when you were growing up that you did not do, you wish you actually did more? You could be going out, you could be hanging out with friends.
Not really.
You feel like you did everything?
I'm okay.
Okay, what is one thing you wish you did less? Now maybe you did too much of it and you should have not, maybe going out something.
I didn't do anything too much or too less, no.
Okay. Yeah, growing up, who inspired you the most?
My grandmother. I stayed with her and I see how industrious she is. I see how loving she is. She has 10 children and she worked well among the 10 of them. Whatsoever she do for A, B will never know. The problem A bring to her, she will solve it and she will not let B to know. So she inspired me a lot. I learned a lot from her and I'm enjoying those things now.
Okay, so next question. Have you ever been rejected by a boy? If yes, how did you deal with it?
Not really. The only thing is that I may have a relationship going, but along the line, once I see the guy is not doing well, before he said no, I've told him. Probably when he come before, I was always coming out. By the time he come 2 times, and he know I'm inside, and I did not come out. That's what I do for them.
So the person I took after. Just do argue.
That's it too.
If you know me, you know I used to. I end it.
Once I'm okay with you, I'm okay with you. But the moment I am saying you sneaky, I will not tell you, say make you no come, but you will not see me. So by the time you know I'm inside and I did not come the first time, the second time, you will respect yourself. You will not come the third time, and that is what has worked from me.
Me, I will tell you straight up, see. It's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Alright, so next question. One thing marriage has taught you that you didn't know before you got into it.
Marriage has taught me that if one is hot, the other should be cold. Very, very stubborn.
Yeah.
I found it difficult to say sorry, but when it taught me to say sorry 101 times, and that's why I'm enjoying my home. Because even if I know that I'm on the right path, but to make peace, I say sorry, and it helps me. And see, people look at my home, they look at my house, they look at it that what is making them happy, because I understand that both of us cannot be hurt. I always make peace at all times, and that has helped me.
Okay, so what do you remember most about your wedding day? Is there one event there?
The inability of most things that we needed to put in place that was not there.
But so far in marriage, do you have any regrets?
No. I am very happy that the Lord has helped me. But I have to tell you, viewers, my beginning was very, very small. The beginning of my marriage, I suffered. When I say I suffered. Mori yepe, mo pe ni owo. I see sand, I call it money. But I thank God because I hold on to my husband. We held on to each other, and the Lord has turned our captivity around. I am happy, I am grateful. If I come back again, I will marry him.
Daddy of life. Okay, so that's where we're going to end. Let me see the ask one more question. Okay, let me just ask this question as the last question for this segment. You still have to shoot on that one. That's why you ask me questions about myself. And I'll ask you questions about myself, basically. So the last question: what is slap or throwing stuff the first thing most African parents reach out for when their children offend them? Like, it's very easy. I know so many African parents that I know so many. It's not like they say. I know so many that any small
How many
thing.
times have I slapped you? Outside we are lójú kokoroju la wà báyìí. It's not all parents that do that.
I don't most African parents.
Like you know, I would prefer to pinch you. African parents have their own. No.
A lot of you used to complain that my sister and myself used to pinch.
I pinch you.
This is the reason. This is the reason.
I do this.
I know I pinch.
So I will pinch that we know that the next 1 hour she'll be feeling that pain.
No, very painful.
So African parents differs in their reaction to things. So for those who are still doing that backhands or slapping,
not even just backhands. People used to throw stuff. Those are even the dangerous.
It is dangerous for you to throw anything. Even when you slap, if you slap, it can be injurious. It can be dangerous. If you throw anything, it can injure that child, and you start to spend on that child. It can do a permanent damage that that child will not forget. So there are a lot of ways we as African parents should handle these children, and we should pray for the Lord Almighty to help us. Yes, we can't help ourselves because some of us we were bullied when we were small. So we grow up with that bully and we instill that bullying into our children. We should realize that children of these days should not be bullied. Yes, we can't say it is the way that we have been brought up that we must still instill that bullying into our child. So we should train them in love. We should train them and discipline them with love. Like I said, my own is pinching. So you too can tap into that pinching. Yes, pinch them very well. And then in that soft place that it will enter their body. Thank you.
That was all for this video. Thank you so much. If you learned anything, which I believe you learned something, I know that you learned something. You don't have to tell me, I know. So if you learned something, make sure you tell me what you learned in the comment section. Tell me what you'll be using. Tell me what is similar to your own experience in the comment section. You can give questions if you feel like I did not ask her that I was supposed to ask her, and I might just drag her again to come and answer these questions. Okay, so make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you love it. Make sure you subscribe if you have not done so. If you watch the video to this point and you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Help my market. Thank you. And share this video. You don't know, someone might need the video. Make sure you share it. We are shooting on that video again, so look out for that video. Yeah, look out for that video coming out very soon. This video is going to most likely drop very soon. I don't know when. Well, it will drop very soon, so just look out for the video. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for coming, mommy.
Thank you. God bless.
Peace.